He will teach us meditation posture. I mean, so what's this for? I wasn't sure.
Those are cat tails. But he's in a swamp.
Oh, okay.
That must be his Bodhi tree.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. And yeah, I have some space for breathing because I ate a lot. The food was so good. Momo, and then ice cream. Now sparkling water. And at lunch, I was, as I mentioned before, that I always learn a lot from chatting with people, and so I was talking with one of the Hundu practitioner who said that I really miss the ongoing Hundu retreat at KTD. I used to lead every year, a few times a year. And I told him that, I was talking with new Madam President, Samalod Lama, that I would like to lead the Hundu retreat in person. And actually, and everybody is so happy that, she, the way she lead all the programs and connecting with all the KTCs, and she's very organized, and we are extremely lucky to have her as a president. And so I told him I will lead the Hindu practice because when you do the prostration in the KTD shrine room or any other shrine rooms, it's so beautiful. All people together doing prostrations, and very inspiring. So that's what I will talk about. Having Hindu practice in person. And so this afternoon session is continuation of our topic, which is daily. What is the topic? Everyday wisdom. So I think I talked too much. Yesterday, Friday, and this morning. So let's let us summarize what we talked about, and I would like to have a little meditation session, and then I will give you time for question and answer session. And so we talked about on Friday about every day we get up in the morning, instead of rush to think about our activities, worrying about, simply contemplating that we are extremely lucky that we are still alive, and we are able to breathe, we are able to talk and walk, and I want to make sure that before we start the day, we try to, before we rise from the bed, we try to have some meditation, and by cleansing, in the hall and cleansing breathing. Let's say doing breathing exercise 3 times, cleansing, exhale and inhale, and then meditate, and also supported by contemplating on something positive about life. And so when you wake up or rise from bed, when you start to walk, you feel more, what's the word? I love that word. Optimistic. No, that's the one I can't pronounce very well. Optimistic, something positive. No. Optimistic. Can you say that again? Optimistic. Yeah, optimistic. So you feel confidence instead of walking with fear or worrying. That's extremely important because myself being someone emotional and I have a lot of anxieties and I feel it's so helpful. That doesn't mean that I do well at the end of the day, but at least, it feels so inspiring. But when you do that every day, then there's a rhythm goes. So you feel, oh, in the morning, even the moment you wake up, oh, I have to meditate. I have to cleansing my, ear, or I can think of something positive. And of course, myself, I wouldn't say of course, but myself, I do the, it's called Kunchu Jidin. It's a recollection of the three jewels. There's a sutra. I chant that, and the retreating meditation about Guru and cleansing, etc. And then secondly, we talked about secondly, we talked about another technique about acceptance, which means that sometimes breathing exercise meditation may not work, and sometimes a lot of things going on, and then we have a lot of anxiety, a lot of unexpected guests arise. Those are the wild thoughts, but we simply accept. We just life is not also all about accept, especially thoughts. Thinking that they are supporting my meditation and reminding please liberate me. Every thought arise, oh, please liberate me, instead of burden us. But there's no but. And then yesterday and today we talk about, everything is connected with the basic goodness, which is Buddha nature, and our own resources, using our own thoughts, that thoughts arise, but they never, ultimately they never arise, never unborn, always liberated by itself. And also we talked about kind of welcoming thoughts, not just chasing thoughts, but simply, every time thought arises, we go back to basic and being in presence, etc. So I will try to culminate. What is the culminate mean? Combine? I don't know. It's just come up or culminate. I thought. At the end, okay. No, man, it's not at the end. Or bring it to the end. Oh, okay. Well, summarize. That's what I was trying to say. Oh, that's good. I'm so happy every time you learn something, you feel that much liberated. And so let's begin with cleansing our breath. Simply put your thumbs in your hand and put on your knees, and you can either close your eyes or or open your eye. It doesn't matter. But of course, there's meditation postures connect with overcoming the 5 negative emotions, such as crossing your leg, and also sometimes you put your hands at your navel. For example, crossing your legs, overcoming jealous, and put your resting your hand like this is overcoming anger, and the spine straight, overcoming ignorance. Your throat is slightly curved, overcoming attachment, and your eye gaze and your mouth slightly open, especially eye gaze is slightly gazing on the ground to overcoming arrogance. So simple physical posture is designed or meant to overcome the 5 negative thoughts. But sometimes when you do more mudra practice, you resting your hand on your knees. So whatever is convenient. But especially when you get up in the morning, when you're cleansing your ear, it's important to put your hands on your knees. So be natural and relax, and breathe in. And breathe out. So when you're breathing out, your hands also extend, your fingers or extend, thinking that all of your negative emotions, illness, everything spill out through cleansing, through fingers and pores of your hair or your hands and all the holes, and just basically chasing out, and then you breathe in. Same thing, breathe in, breathe out 3 times. So then shamatha meditation. Shama means peaceful or calm, meaning that your own basic goodness is always calm. This morning we talk about silent, still, even though we have a lot of thoughts arise, but beneath or behind sin or nature, the source of it is our nature of mind is extremely still and calm and silent. There's no chats of thoughts. So we basically defining shamatha meditation. Shama means total calm. Its nature is always calm. And shamatha means abide. So you simply rest in that that calmness. Ultimately, your mind is always resting in that nature. Not looking for calm, simply restating or simply recognizing that right now, right this very place, at this very moment, your mind's nature is absolutely calm, silent, utterly pure. Still, without any expectation to be calm. If you're looking for calm or expecting to be calm, and then you basically destroy or goes beyond the reality of our nature. So within that state of mind, you may begin to experience some thoughts arise. Are not able to remain in that state. That's perfectly fine because what you are experiencing is very temporary, but never separated from the liberation of your own nature. Even they arise, they're always liberated in their nature. So not afraid of having thoughts and simply resting in every thought in their nature. And then delightful that you have thoughts arise because that's the nature of display of your own wisdom. Total welcoming your thoughts. just gone. So you wake up, if you fall to sleep. So I would like to, you to ask questions, if you have any questions, and yeah, so based on that or any subject.
Is this on? Oh. So this is from something from yesterday.
Mhm.
You were talking about samsara being confusion and nirvana, the absence of confusion. And a couple of like phrases hit my mind right after that, like samsara and nirvana, the same ground. And then from the 37 practices that all appearances are your own mind. Mind primordially transcends all mental fabrication. And so is that mind the ground? Something feels like it's pulling me in a certain direction, but I guess my question is, if considering that all appearances are your mind, is that the ground that is mentioned in the previous statement? Thank you.
Ground.
The nature, ground, they talk about ground as so I think your question is like restated. The Buddha, the nature that the Buddha is speaking of, is that the same as the ground of Buddha that's spoken of? Is that true?
See, I don't really know, because all I had was this statement that nirvana and samsara are the same ground, but I don't know where it comes from. It just hit me in the head.
Oh, okay. So what is the relationship between the nature of mind and the quotation from the Mahamudra lineage supplication, grant your blessing that we may see samsara and nirvana inseparable? That's, and then I think you also say it seems to be pointed to by the 37 practices.
Yeah, that's that part of the verse and the 37 practices is just what came from my mind.
Okay.
Came to mind right after that. And so
Yeah, it states that. Is that helpful?
Yeah, definitely. Hilarious and so cute. I think yesterday I talked about what Matthiya Buddha mentioned about samsara is nothing more than delusion, because generally when we talk about samsara, we often visualize or often understood as a realm, like some samsaric realm, like cyclic existence, such as human realm, etc. But inwardly, or like mentally, we experience this cyclic existence, which is if we don't have jealous, sometimes we have anger. If we don't have anger, anxiety, etc. But according to Matthiya Buddha, that we shouldn't always think that this samsara is something concrete. Samsara is within your mind, but at the same time, samsara is nothing more than confusion. So confusion is never really exist in its nature if we practice I use the Buddha nature or basic goodness. And so that's how you are able to cut the root of samsara. At certain habitual patterns can be purified or transformed. And so nirvana and samsara are inseparable, which means that sometimes it can be understood on books, but also you have to utilize your own mind, because samsara nirvana is always part of your mind, which means when you experience a lot of disturbing emotions, and then if you through the blessing of your Guru, you're able to realize that, oh, I have this disturbing emotions, but because of this disturbing emotions, they never really was a disturbing emotion in their nature. First understanding, then slowly experience through practice, and slowly you realize it. That is nirvana. So I think perfect example is our great master Khyentse Rinpoche, the sign of liberation. When he, of course, during his life, we always know that he's a great meditator. When he passed nirvana, like 5 days in absolute meditation, Mahamudra meditation, which means he was in samsara, a manifest individual, and it's perfect example. So he didn't change his physical condition, but simply, realizing that confusion is samsara, and then when it's liberated, it's nirvana. That's how we actually actualized or realized, and that's why we call meditation and clear light for so many days. Is that helpful? Thank you. Yes.
Teaching this weekend.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
You had mentioned earlier today that we can turn anything into a meditation by being aware. So taking it beyond sitting and walking and even meditating while we're talking. So I'm frequently working with people who have extreme social anxiety.
Mhm.
And when they're talking with another person, they're hyper analyzing what they're saying. What is the other person thinking? What am I, am I looking stupid? How do you turn that hyper vigilant anxiety to just mindfulness?
I think most important is expecting that we are able to turn someone else hyper or anxiety into liberation, but it's important for us to have some degree of stability, which means although meditation, as I mentioned earlier, that you can apply anywhere, any place or whatever activities, but at the same time, sitting meditations, my teacher said, extremely important. That's why, like beginning of the day, at least like 10 minutes or like 5 minutes, sit still, kind of calm your mind, and then we call post meditation, because if you have good sitting meditation, naturally affects with your post meditation. The moment you get up and activities goes on, you feel a sense of lightness in your body, or your mind is quite alert. So enough alert to catch if you begin to have anxieties. And the one part that I was mentioning about the moment you have this aggressive thought arise, must remember that they are always liberated in their nature. They were not really were thoughts in their nature, because sometimes when the thoughts arise, it's very aggressive. You carried by that. That's how you feel really dominated physically and mentally. But when you confront to the thought, I know, it's aggressive. However, it's always liberated in their nature. It's just a little a stream of hot water or something. This looks like very, concrete, but it's kind of comes from there, kind of dissolves. So you have to. That's why mindfulness is extremely important. And if we have some stability or meditation, able to have awareness, I do think that it affects environment, especially if you're working with those emotional hyper people, because when Rinpoche was present, and I sometimes feel very, very so much anxiety or something. And I just want to sit there in his room and watch him. And he doesn't say anything. I won't say anything. Simply watch him or feel the presence. I feel so much strengthened. It's simply because he has that stability. So anybody could do that. Not just one master was so great. They were great simply because they started like us, like a baby step. Slowly you really have confidence in your basic nature or Buddha nature, and confidence is very important. And then slowly you have more sense of um, how do you say? You are very, very delight to meditation, and then slowly it takes a little effort, but it's just so beautiful and so much meaning in it. Otherwise, we are just uh, not only we are become emotional person, but thank goodness, not thank goodness, but it's so much negative karma accumulate every day. And then we expect, one day I may retire and I will have a really good practice. That is just a simple wish. Yeah. Simple wish. Sound master. A good
Thank you for your
sound.
teaching.
I just so enjoying the sound.
Thank you. I'm glad. I have a question from a Zoom participant.
Mhm.
What practices help practitioners who have experienced trauma?
I think on a Friday evening or yesterday, I shared a story that I was talking with the lady on the plane when I flew from Albany to Detroit, and she was talking about her one of her son, was in army and in Afghanistan and got shot and has a lot of trauma. When he came back, and as much as he loved his family and children, but really hard time to adapt normal life. And herself being as a mother, she went there right away and spent 2 months with him. And he had this suspicious in his mind, like, "Mom, you are not judging me," this kind of trauma. And of course, nightmares, etc. And so he was, he was meeting with like a therapist. But most important part was what I'm trying to say is that her mother mentioned to me is that the breathing exercise that he actually learned from whoever his teacher was, or someone, and was so helpful for him. And he does that breathing exercise every day. He has this anxiety attack, he has this panic attack, and whenever he could sense when that happens, so he always said that to his mom. Her name was Nancy, and that he focus on breathing exercise and then stabilize his mind. So she said that thank goodness, it helped so much, and now back to normal, regular person, or like he's able to hug his kids and family, and he's totally healed. So I think breathing exercise is extremely important. If someone has a lot of trauma, and Then physical exercise is important, you're just taking a walk and hiking, it's so related. And yeah, I think breathing exercise is most important part, but I'm not really expert on that, but that's what I think.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you very much for your teachings.
Well,
I am hoping I can formulate this question properly.
mhm.
So you mentioned the power of prayer, and when you referred, it's two-pronged. For the power of prayer, are you referring to pujas?
Mhm.
Okay, and then you also mentioned something about like a ripple effect, like that it has a ripple effect. In turn, are you referring
So
to
what was the letter?
a ripple? Oh,
Yeah.
I am so sorry.
Oh.
It's the microphone.
Thank you.
So apologies. You mentioned the ripple effect of the power of
Mhm.
like the
Yeah.
pujas. So are you referring to almost like if you do it, your actions around other people will be affected? Or is
Mhm.
there more of like a ripple effect that I'm not aware of other than, does that make sense?
That makes sense, yeah. Mhm. I think the prayer is also part of speech. And if someone tells us or sings us simple songs, tell us something, something that healing, I'm proud of you, or you did so good, whatever the healing could be. It's so effective. Likewise, if you say something opposite, very effective. And in Buddhism, the prayer, that we chant is basically composed by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who only, the reason why we call them Bodhisattva, is someone totally, selfless, let's say, not selfless, never always think about sentient beings. Oneself is even like prayers of Shantideva mentioned that even I have to go to hell realm or like whatever I need to do in order to liberate sentient beings, may able to become, servant or like, bread or flour, whatever I can help sentient beings. So based on this kind of outstanding aspiration, they compose these verses that we chant like dedications. And so when you repeat these prayers, which has tremendous aspiration that they made, and we chant this melodiously, and it will not only affect within oneself or within this room, but the prayer is sent to whole world. We say that's why we say we are sending a prayer for all sentient beings. And so that's why it's very effective, especially having like gatherings like puja. When you do Chinese puja, you have 20 people or something. Everybody is on the same boat. Everybody's praying for whole world, praying everybody. And sometimes, there are a lot of requests like, oh, someone is sick, and please pray for that person, or someone deceased, please pray for that. So we always pray for them. So it's so it's very effective. There's one prayer we chant every day. It says the blessing of Buddha who entered three kayas, the blessing of the truth of Dhammadat. Then last is the one we talk about is the prayer, the blessing of the gathering, gathering of Sangha. So that's why, of course, one individual's prayer for all sentient beings is very effective, but everybody praying the same motivation, and same dedication, same purpose, and also repeating this very special, sacred chanting that is composed by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas is very beneficial. And similarly, like you could see, like Tibetan Buddhism custom, and that we have all these prayer flags, right? And they are all hang outside, and or you may have like, what's the purpose? And if you look at each of them have this, 21 Tara prayers or like mantras, and wherever the wind carries wind blows and touching blows and brings peace. And so everything is meant to, as I mentioned earlier, Buddha's teaching is from directly or indirectly benefit sentient beings out of compassion. Yes, please. It's good exercise after you have a big meal.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Any takers? Yes, we do.
Mhm.
I just remembered a question someone had from yesterday on Zoom, and we didn't get a chance to ask it.
Sure.
They said you spoke about ways to motivate yourself to do your practice and do positive,
Mhm.
Dharma activities. They wanted to know how you can convince yourself to not do things that waste your time, essentially, or
Mhm.
that pull you away from doing Dharma.
Mhm. Impermanence, contemplate on impermanence, because, for example, like our own family, we don't know. Everything's impermanent, and nobody wants to hear, but today could be the last, or tomorrow will be the last. And I think life is the meaning of life is not regret too much at the time of death. So I would have done this and that. And so if you think about impermanence, for example, like pleasure, morning you may get upset, but you don't want to, kind of upset with argument or such, but you don't want to continue that. You want to see that you never know what would happen next. So you simply apologize, or totally change your concept. I normally actually ask questions like someone married for a long time. What is your what do you do? It's always a learning process. We always should think, don't think we are already there. Like marriage, I don't believe it's a destination, it's a work. But people say, well, we are working on, it's wrap it up. But in reality, you have to really, really caution yourself. Are you really working on or not? Because sometimes, I'm working on, I think we're doing good, I work on, but at the same time, I sometimes think, you are working on, but which direction? You're going reverse or going forward. So sometimes something to, I'm not expert on that, but that's why I'm trying to learn. And then what I'm trying to say is that the person who told me that, well, what I do is that I never miss say I love you, or like give a kiss, before you go to bed or before you go to work. What you never know what will happen. I might get upset this morning, and then the next day I change. I think those are very good approach. But Yeah, the only thing I would say the impermanence is really important. And impermanence is sometimes like, I know some individuals like, oh, why Buddhism always talk about something, makes you sad, but it's not. It is the truth. Buddhist teaching is all about truth. And so impermanence means that you treasure, you really value whatever time you have with your loved ones or others, and not to engage something negative, especially as a practitioner, that you don't want to accumulate negative karma. So for me, impermanence, meditation is very, very helpful. And my teacher, Kemba, always talk about teaching about impermanence, but he not only talk about it, he lives with that. He never wastes his time. I've been with him 20 something years, and he always either practice or activities, sewing something, always support for people like lamas. When we do three retreat, we were like kings, like queens, Rinpoche was down there sewing clothes for us. If he see a broke robe or something, he doesn't want us to sew it because he wants us to practice. No, he case that he just saw them. Yeah, so impermanence is, I think, very important. Then the other part is like we say compassion. And compassion means that, the world is going through so much suffering. How can I waste my time? I want to do something for the world with your compassion. So impermanence is my first choice.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Islam.
I was reviewing the list of the postures of the body, and I missed a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I missed as well.
Could you review them for us again, please?
Can you do that for me? Yeah, I really like his, this is kind of smile face. And he can stand on 1 feet, like Vajrayogini. So meditation posture, basically it says if your physical posture is correct, then your channels are correct. And if your channel is correct, and then your wind is correct. If your wind is correct, your mind is correct. So that's all purpose of doing meditation posture. And when we talk about 7 postures of Buddha and Vairochana, the first is crossing our legs, or sometimes Vajra posture, and sometimes crossing legs like a Bodhisattva posture, which overcomes jealous. Jealous is unbalanced emotion, and this has the strength or like potential to overcome jealous or reduce jealous. And of course, our body is built with certain channels, and you blocking some access to experience jealous. And then the second is your hands on below your navel, like 4 fingers below your navel, and resting in your hands, and that overcomes anger, and that is the second posture. And then the next is your spine straight, back straight. Sometimes when you walk, it's really helpful. Walk with a straight spine, straight. You immediately, you feel like you can They walk fast. So your spine straight is 3. And then next is the shoulder open, not like slouch. Sometimes if you are cold or sad, you little bit like slouch, but your shoulder is open. So generally, the shoulders open and also spine straight together, overcoming. Sorry. I think I mixed a little bit here. Yeah. Together, overcoming the ignorance. So in terms of posture, we already finished 1, 2, 3, 4. The next is your neck. So your neck is slightly curved forward, not like this, but curved forward, a little bit bent, which overcomes attachment. And that comes 5th terms of posture. And the next 6th will be your mouth. It says your mouth slightly open and smile, smile, face, and then your tongue is slightly curved and touched to the palate. So that is, together. Let's say the neck is 6th, and the tongue to palate, and your mouth is slightly open. Is I think it's 6th. I think I counted. That's 6th, yeah. And then 7th is your eye gaze, the last one. So eye gaze. When you do shamatha meditation, you slightly gazing, on the ground, so which reduce our arrogance or pride. But if you have a lot of dullness and want to sleep or something, I think if you have a lot of dullness, the most important posture you experience is spine straight, more than eye gaze. When your spine straight, immediate, sense of alertness. So then your eye gets slightly, up. That would reduce dullness or sleepiness. And of course, Muhammadan posture always kind of, gaze up like Lord Marba, right? So, but there's another. That is something we all could practice. It's not something secret, something useful. Like Rinpoche used to really emphasize is we call palang, the intermediate breath, which means that maintaining those postures. Also, you basically pulling your lower gate. Kind of sometimes it's when you simply blocking or pulling your lower gate up, you slightly feel a warmth on your navel, which is actually, some people have like a sadness or depression, or sometimes you feel, some kind of like very weak, and not much energy. And but this is very simple practice. You can walk, if you just simply kind of focus on your navel, basically pulling your lower gate, which means you feel a sense of warmth, and that actually is very good for healing. And Khenpo Rinpoche used to talk about sometimes people have a long-term illness and can heal by Palang meditation. And I think that's extremely important, which means that I know doctors may suggest differently. They would say that whenever you have a stomach that has gases, let it go. But meditation-wise, if you're constantly losing those gas, you're losing a lot of wisdom air. And so we always, in the retreat, we suggested to kind of focus on that. And so I think that's 7 postures of Buddha and Bodhisattva.
Ask one more of a technical question.
Mhm.
Occasionally, I have these when I'm meditating, and I'm not particularly tired at the time, but when I'm doing the gaze in front of me, it becomes very difficult to keep my eyes open. But if I close my eyes, it's even worse because then all of a sudden I start going into some kind of dreamlike state, which is even more distracting. And it's not like I'm fatigued or want to sleep. It's just that holding that gaze a little bit in front of you, just like my eyes just want to close.
Right.
And I'm wondering if there's some kind of remedy or something like that.
How long do you do meditation? How long, like each session?
It depends. Sometimes, about 15, 20 minutes is common. I'm not including the time when I do different recitations or mantras or something like that.
Mhm.
It's just that it can very quickly, it's not every time, but it's enough that it's kind of annoying. And so, where if I'm gazing, it's just like, I want to close my eyes just kind of want to do it on its own. And of course, that doesn't really help, especially because the distraction becomes even more if they're closed. So,
Yeah, it sounds like you are talking about me. I have similar problem, and when that happens to me, and what I do is that I melodious sing supplication to Guru. Sometimes I visualize Guru and dissolve into you. You basically sing. It doesn't matter what melody. It does matter. There's traditional melodies like. Vajradhara lineage prayer, but it doesn't matter what voice comes out of you. It's just the devotion. You sing like like that, or maybe different melodies. So you visualize your Guru above your head and you dissolve and then meditate. And sometimes I just get up and do a few prostrations or just walk around while you chanting and then go back. Because as a beginner, it is mentioned that do many times, but short sessions. 15 minutes, it's not that long. But sometimes you feel it's so long, which means you are not, oh, I thought it's already 15 minutes, it's only 5 minutes, what happened? But if you, it also mentioned that when you do more meditation, if you have, a lot of dullness, and definitely it states that you have a lot to purify negative karma. We have to do a lot of meritorious actions or purify negative karma. Doesn't also mean meditate, right? You can go circumambulation, or you can whatever meritorious actions that could be, offering flowers to the Buddha, or fill, or just clean your altar, or help somebody, or volunteer, maybe moving cushions around, or whatever, so it's always helpful.
So 2 more questions from online. One, would you be able to speak more on what it means to be enlightened?
Sorry?
Would you be able to speak a little bit more on what it means to be enlightened? What?
Oh, I see. I think the questioner is getting at, what is it like to be an enlightened being, or what is it like for them? How is there like different for all?
It's so cool. But according to Buddha's teaching, the definition of enlightenment means beyond suffering, Nyangilin Deba. And of course, myself cannot speak how that feeling feels like. But I think what will happen is that because Buddha's become enlightened in order for all sentient beings free from suffering. And so when Buddha as a Sangye, fully awakened ones, is that they are beyond suffering. They never experience any suffering like we do. And they are always remain in that primordial wisdom. At the same time, because of their aspiration, they're able to send billions of emanations to the world in different forms to liberate sentient beings continuously. And so how do they feel? I think they don't have this like, oh, I want to feel certain happiness or sad, but because of their enlightenment, so their wish will be fulfilled to benefit all sentient beings. It's like maybe perfect example could be a mother, a loving mother, if she has the full ability to fulfill or dispel suffering of her own child, she will be so enlightened, so happy. I think something like that. But of course, we don't really know exactly how enlightened feels. But for us, like sometimes our meditation is successful. We feel very good. We can. That is only just like very small things. Like it's like a drop from the ocean. So I can imagine that it's as they say, inexhaustible liberation wisdom, something like that. There's no like emotionally, oh, I'm so excited, I'm enlightened. And then later on, kind of that excitement to reduce and then fall back to samsara.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The next question was, this questioner has tinnitus or tinnitus, I'm never sure which way it's pronounced, but ringing in the ears, constant ringing in the ears,
Mhm.
which they say it distracts them while they're meditating. Is there anything you could suggest that would help?
Sound like you may see doctor. So did I understand? Somebody has a constant ringing in the ears through meditation?
Just all the time. It's a health condition. It's a health.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see, I see.
So how do
Mhm. Oh, I see. So the question would be, how can I apply that sound as a meditation?
Well, they say it's distracting them during meditation, so how can they deal with
Disturb,
the
right?
distraction? Yes.
Okay. There is a particular meditation as we call sound meditation. And we purposely ringing something and bell or something. But if someone has that kind of a condition, and what will happen? You can use as a meditation object. You hear the sound so clearly. At the same time, it's absence of what's the word? At the same time, it is emptiness in nature. Why are you hearing? It's there's a Guru Yoga talk about the moment you see the appearances, at the same time, it is empty in its nature. So likewise, when you hear that sound, you can sometimes, of course, the moment you hear it, oh, its nature is, emptiness. And, I'm so happy that I have this meditation, technique. And secondly, you can also visualize this is the sound of mantra, visualizing Chinese or like such deity in your ear, constantly, reciting mantra to you or giving teaching to you. Or you can sometimes visualize the sound is like maybe you like certain sound of an animal, beautiful bird or something you visualize. So it is in a way as a practitioner, it's a luxury it's a very, helpful. So, whenever you annoy something, sometimes if you really can't control that and you have a lot of, it just disturbing your meditation, then you can think of whoever has this kind of condition, able to take their suffering. So it's always can be useful. That can be used.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What time is it? Oh, 3:15. We have more time. Any other questions? Yeah, I just was talking about programs at KTD. Not only that, I think they put all the KTC's activities on KTD Facebook, and so it's really so there's all the programs like Lama Kati and Lama Lodu Lamo, and they put together so nicely. And you also have a special the email or like a newsletter known as Samba, right? Bridge. So it's I'm very happy. All the activities what's happening at KTD and all the KTCs. And personally, I'm so happy that all of Kim Rinpoche's, our teacher Kim Rinpoche's stupas are all accomplished. The 3 stupas at Kamalai, and 1 stupa at KTT, 1 big, giant, beautiful stupa at Tonga Monastery, where Rinpoche came from. And then there's another stupa in Nepal, created by Rinpoche's brother, a small stupa. And then there's another stupa in the Tara Shrine at Tonga Monastery in Nepal, I think, which was recommended by Tonga Rinpoche. There's another stupa will be built in Kutztown, Colorado, where the giant 16 Kamapa stupa is. It was, I was heavily involved in many of those activities, especially Tonga monasteries, and you feel a sense of little offering to Guru. At the same time, you feel so much gratitude that he's continue giving and giving and giving. So I just don't want to miss that part. Now I feel like, previously when Rinpoche was talking about, when Columbus KTC is built and we all go there and bring all the sacred objects, kanju and all those statues and brocades. Even though we didn't get opportunity to go with Rinpoche, but Cambodia and others already came, and myself got this opportunity, and I would say that there will be more opportunities to bring all the texts, and then the shrine will be built, and then statues will be here. The set of the golden top, is coming soon. When people in Nepal they say soon doesn't mean also. I just simply pass the message, and then like, oops, they said letter. So what can you do? And then a stupa, I mean, like, the small stupa, it's consecrated with such, all the prayers, the mantras, and it's really special. And I feel, so happy that, as I mentioned yesterday, Rinpoche must be very happy to see that this Columbus KTC is, built. And I know that, so many people put effort, especially, the KTC's administration and the lamas and, all the students and sponsors, and it's a collective effort. And especially Kim Rinpoche's all the effort that he put, we are continue fulfill his wishes. And I really very happy that those of you who are here and can, these pillars holding the center together and continue support. When we talk about the support, there are such center, there are so many ways to support, just not just financial support, but there are so many things to, handle, like yesterday we talked about shrine thing, kitchen thing, and supervised by directors and board and lamas, and it's a community. Community is sometimes noisy. Sometimes like there will be disagreement. So what? But everybody's intention is perfectly focused on rebuilding Columbus KTC. And I was when I talked with Kim that she feels that there are a lot to continue work, and I just letting her know that how far we came to. What's the word? How far? How far we came? How far? Like at the beginning when the fire destroyed, like there's nothing, just ashes, right? You're collecting all this burnt tankas and flag is still there. But that's how you begin. But then all these meetings, all this, it took so much personal time, and everybody wants to be with family, but the administration, the lamas, everybody is really working so hard. But you see what you achieved already. Sometimes we have to think back, how we came about and how far we reached. And this is very far. I mean, now people can sit in a beautiful shrine, and I also like the lights so beautiful. It's and also downstairs in kitchen area and every place. And there are so many. When I was going through the building, it's like, oh, what's next? Oh, what's next? Everything was very surprising, and that's actually a treasure. It's not individuals own or something. It's owned by Sangha. And also it's your responsibility as well, because KTD monastery was built by 16th Karmapa, supervised and blessed, and then Khenpo Rinpoche and Bado Rinpoche, they built it. And one hand, it's a residential place for them, but on the other hand, they built this for 16 Karmapa's vision that he could see that Dhamma will spread. And now we look at what happened after that is that all these KTCs were started, and the 3-year retreat started, and the 3-year retreat done 7 times. Now I think it's 8th. They're starting the 8th 3-year retreat. All the lamas come out. So that's how you kind of flourish. And it's not about like, oh, we are Buddhism, we have to mention about Buddha's lineage such, but it's about all concern about the world, because there are so many beings, some certain individual karmas connected with Buddhism, and they need a guide. And if seriously, I feel that whether you are Buddhist or not, if you are able to teach them one technique, technique. I always write. Technique, one technique about meditation, and you are able to calm that person with their anxiety. And that is a life-changing gift that people cannot receive. You receive a lot of gifts from your family, others, but they can't give you that kind of peace. Like they can't give you that kind of a liberation. So that's why Buddhism came to the West, not because the great masters say, "Oh, I'm so desperate that my religion has to conquer somebody or has to come there." It was like the interest, when the Westerners or others to come to in like Asian countries, and they see this ancient wisdom would really benefit because they themselves practice. It basically comes from the devotionary course from students, and then the compassion of the master. That's how really Buddhism came about. Buddhism, came here, and they don't just go after people. Say, can you become Buddhist, please, or they'll give you something. Not like that, because that's not how Buddhism functions. And if somebody wants to interested in practice or meditation, you never say no. You're always willing to help. And so, so I really, I'm not. I can't predict, but I feel what's the word? Very optimistic in the future of Columbus KTC's Dharma activities, because we have Lama Kathy and Lama Tom and other meditation masters, Lama Adam, and like Lama Kathy, she has been there forever, and Khenpo Rinpoche, I remember Khenpo Rinpoche used to call her my daughter. Yeah, so he always used to share some kadas and small, okay, you have to take this back to the center and you should give. And I think one thing about her is that when she gave teaching or something, she always have these questions, and she never really randomly answer questions. She always ask, this person, she sometimes asks me too, this person asked this question, and I don't know how to answer. So that's actually, someone taking full responsibility as a teacher. I also say the same thing, because I'm not really, shy about, ignorance. We are all in some sort of Lama Tom as well, and Lama Tom's devotion to Rinpoche is indestructible. Very, very devoted. I know him for a long time, and he and Arik used to put him in jail. We used to go to visit jail. And I remember that when we went to visit the jail and meeting people there, and sometimes because I'm supposed to be the main guest, and then I start to talk, and sometimes I don't know how to talk. And I look at Lama Tom, and he picks me up. Oh, okay, kind of, and then I look at Eric, and but it's really I'm so happy, and yeah, I definitely see that the interest of individual in here, a lot of young people and a lot of senior students, working very hard. So I'm extremely happy, and so I'm very thankful to administration and lamas and sangha, and having this great opportunity. I know my service is very limited, but I always, keep our centers on my mind, and just whenever I could, offer a little offering to my guru and our lineage, and that's pretty much I have so far. I hope I didn't forget anything. But of course, now I can't wait to go back, to see my family, and I kind of miss them. It's the truth, it's the truth. I miss my son, and I talk on video, but still not enough. So I know tomorrow when I go back, I will be, all over him.
I think that they would like to make some offering, you go to do the dedication before the offering.
That sounds good. Let's do dedication first. So let's dedicate the merit of this weekend teaching for the benefit of all sentient beings, for the long life of His Son's Kamapa, all Dhamma activities, remove all the obstacles, long life of all the great masters, long life of all our lamas, Columbus KTC lamas, and Dhamma friends, everybody. And also we pray that the whole world will experience peace and harmony, and also pray dedicate that to all of us who follow practice of this lineage, able to practice the four thoughts that turn mind from samsara, and every day practice dharma, and before we get up, we are able to maintain our homework, not just 1 day, 2 day, not just after we receive teaching, but every day. It's because we all wish to be happy in life and peaceful life, and the only way to do that is to maintain calmness and this blessing and compassion to all sentient beings. And so now we begin to chant the prayer on page 31, right? Samande nanje zebanye tane nyebe dana banje Jega nanje balayandravaye sebe zolayandravaye Yambalamba Jandrajala Moganda Zamba Deyan Deyan Deva Ganja Jezadalanja Gewandeda Danjeranda Sanjanga Zanye Benjelanda Janye Mende Dembejela Yende Mezende Bejela Jejedrango Vamelandruje Adela Meja Vendema Ganya Yala Deje Jamala Naje Malazo Zandrejane Jede Sanje Sala Gevrasho, page 29. Chandra Ganja
Yeah, while they're coming up and making the offering to Lama Karma on behalf of Columbus KTC, I would like to thank, of course, all the volunteers who helped us this weekend, who made connections with students and did everything that was important to bring people into contact with these teachings. And then additionally, of course, there's no repaying the kindness of our teachers. And so we wanted to say thank you very much to Lama Karma for coming and being with us this weekend. I know it was hard for you to be away from your family for the entire weekend after so long together. But we want to invite you, please, to come back again and again. We make the aspiration you have a long and healthy life, and that you continue to bring the Dharma to us. So please come again soon. And if anybody else would like to join in the offering, you can do so. There are katas in the back of the room if you'd like to join in.
Thank you, Rama. Thank you so much. Obrigado. Kama Gaga, Trinity. Yagan Donza, Gama, Bojin, the Trinity of the Zoo, Padam, Tugundu, Hanayon, the Jinja, Dajin Mala, Nedo Zonja Zalanga Bajo, Dana Chiava Tonji, the Yami Tabu, Kaji to Jeva, Padingam, Jesu Jendam, and Tashi Dele Sa Mangalam. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. See you very soon.